Welcome to AI Assembled, the top AI news for small business. I'm Chris Doelle, and each week I bring you the most important AI developments that can transform your business. Let's dive into this week's top stories.
Anthropic is going to start invisibly watermarking every piece of text its Claude models produce. Any Claude model released after August 2nd now embeds a hidden watermark directly into the text it generates. That watermark travels with the text when you copy and paste, and it survives light editing. For files like images, Anthropic is using the C2PA Open standard to add provenance metadata. The reason this is happening now is the European Union's AI Act Transparency Code, which took effect on August 2nd, and requires AI firms to mark generated content in a way other systems can detect. Google, Meta, Microsoft, OpenAI, and others have all signed on. For a small business, here is the practical takeaway. If you use Claude to draft blog posts, product descriptions, proposals, or client emails, that copy is now flagged as AI-generated at the invisible layer. Detection tools that read the watermark will be able to identify it. It does not mean you cannot use Claude commercially. It does mean that if your brand voice depends on looking human-authored, you should be adding a real human editing pass before anything goes out the door. Expect the other major model makers to roll out similar watermarks in the coming weeks, because the EU rule applies to all of them. Sticking with AI news from Anthropic, the company also released Claude Sonnet 5, its newest agentic reasoning model. Sonnet 5 is priced at $2 per million input tokens and $10 per million output tokens, and Anthropic just made that pricing permanent. What matters for a small business is what agentic means here. Sonnet 5 can plan a multi-step task, open a browser, run a terminal, use tools, debug its own work, and stay on plan across a long job. Think of it as a junior operator that can actually execute, not just answer questions. Anthropic is positioning it as the model that does the work that used to require their bigger, more expensive Opus tier. If you have been holding off on agent workflows because the costs did not pencil out, this is the release that is aimed squarely at you.
The U.S. Census Bureau just published fresh data on how Americans actually use AI at work, and the numbers are bigger than most people realize. About 55% of U.S. workers say they have used AI on the job for at least one of 11 common tasks the census asked about. That is more than half the workforce. And among those AI users, roughly a quarter say they use it every single day. The top 5 tasks are worth memorizing if you are running a small business. 37% use AI to search for information or technical help. 32% use it to write communications, documentation, or instructions. Another 32% use it to generate ideas. 31% use it to interpret, translate, or summarize information. And 27% use it for administrative tasks. On time saved, 31% of AI users say it cuts 1 to 2 hours off their work in a given week. And another 15% say AI saves them more than 4 hours. That said, 10% report no time saved at all. And 3% say using AI actually took them longer, which is an honest number and a useful reality check. Education matters. 75% of workers with a bachelor's degree or higher used AI at least one day in the past week, versus 59% of workers with a high school diploma or less. Men reported using AI daily at nearly twice the rate of women, 30% versus 17%. For a small business owner, the message is simple. Your employees are almost certainly already using AI, whether or not you have a policy. The question is not whether to allow it. The question is whether you are training on it, standardizing prompts across your team, and capturing the productivity gains, or leaving that up to whoever your most curious employee happens to be. If you do not have a written AI use guideline for your team yet, this week is the week to put one on paper. Even a one-page policy on approved tools, what data can and cannot go into them, and who owns the output, is a step ahead of most SMBs right now. Back to you.
OpenAI shipped an update to GPT 5.6 and ChatGPT this month, and there are real changes for both paid and free users. For Plus and Pro subscribers, GPT 5.6 Soul has been tuned to be more focused, less chatty, and much more reliable on facts. In OpenAI's internal testing on financial, medical, and legal prompts, the new Soul produced about 68% fewer answers, with at least one factual error compared to the previous GPT 5.5 instant model. There is also a new effort slider on the web, mobile, and desktop apps that lets you dial how much thinking the model puts into a response. For free users, the news is bigger. Free and Go users are getting GPT 5.6 Luna as the default, plus unlimited text chats, plus a new Think button that unlocks deeper reasoning on harder questions. Free users still have caps on file uploads and image tools, but for pure text work, ChatGPT Free just became a much stronger option. For a small business, this reshapes the make or buy calculus. If you have team members you have not paid seats for because Free was too limited, that gap just shrank. A quick word on other headlines this week that SMBs should have on their radar. Elon Musk's XAI launched Grokbot in early beta, pitched as AI teammates that can operate your tools and get work done inside a sandboxed computer environment. Anthropic extended Claude in Chrome, so a task you start in the browser continues on your other devices. Spotify announced new labels for AI persona artist profiles, and will exclude them from algorithmic recommendations, which matters if you use AI-generated music in ads or content. And Twitch quietly turned on a default that lets Amazon use streams, clips, and chat to train AI models. So if you use Twitch for marketing, check your privacy settings this week. The through line across all of this is the same. AI is now embedded in the platforms you already use, the tools you already pay for, and the workflows your team has already adopted. Your job as an owner is to keep up, standardize, and protect your data. We will see you next week.
That's it for this week's AI Assembled, the top AI news for small business. If you found this valuable, share it with a fellow business owner. And if you want to know whether AI tools can find and recommend your business, get your free AI website optimization report at freshmediaworks.com/AI ready. Until next week, keep innovating and keep it real.